Why is Mississippi the way it is? There's no delicate way to put this. Mississippi has the worst state economy in the entire USA. What factors have led to this dire situation and what can be done to change it? Let's delve into the history, challenges, and potential solutions for turning Mississippi's economy around. Let's break it down. Mississippi holds the unfortunate title of having the lowest GDP per capita among all the states. Its labor force participation rates are among the lowest, meaning fewer people are working or looking for work. This state also has the highest poverty rate and one of the slowest growth rates in the world's largest economy. These aren't just numbers on a page, they translate into very real quality of life problems for the people living there. For instance, Mississippi has one of the lowest life expectancies and overall human development levels in the country. The average person from Mississippi lives 5 years less and earns almost half as much as the average US citizen. That's a stark contrast. In any large group, like the states that make up the USA, there are bound to be some that rank well and others that rank poorly. But what's particularly intriguing about Mississippi's economic struggles is that this state used to be the richest in the nation. Yes, you heard that right. At one point, Mississippi was at the top. Imagine Luxembourg trading places with Moldova in the European Union. That's the level of shift we're talking about here. This decline didn't happen overnight. It's been a slow process over the past century. And that makes Mississippi a fascinating economic case study. What went wrong? Why did this state go from first to last? To understand this, we need to unpack the root causes of Mississippi's decline. This isn't just a history lesson. It's a story that offers insights into the challenges of operating within a larger economy where almost every other state can offer its citizens better opportunities, better living standards, and better support systems. Consider the broader context. Every other state in the US offers more in terms of economic opportunities, quality of life, and social support. When you're competing in such an environment, how does a state like Mississippi turn things around? Is it even possible, or is Mississippi destined to remain an economic underperformer in a country full of overachievers? One reason for Mississippi's decline is its reliance on agriculture, particularly cotton, in its early economic history. While this made Mississippi wealthy in the 19th century, the lack of diversification hurt the state as the economy evolved and industrialized. Other states adapted and diversified their economies, while Mississippi lagged behind. Education is another critical factor. Mississippi has historically had lower investment in education compared to other states. This has long-term effects, as a less educated workforce is less adaptable to the changing demands of the modern economy. States that prioritize education typically see better economic outcomes, and Mississippi's underinvestment here has certainly played a role in its economic struggles. Infrastructure is yet another piece of the puzzle. Poor infrastructure makes it difficult to attract and retain businesses, which in turn hampers economic growth. When you compare Mississippi's infrastructure to more economically successful states, the differences are stark. Additionally, social and economic policies have had their impact. Policies that don't support business development or adequately address social issues can create an environment where growth is stifled. Back in the early days of the USA, Mississippi was riding high on the hog, thanks primarily to its booming agriculture sector. This agricultural success translated into substantial wealth, making Mississippi the wealthiest state in the Union for quite some time. But how did Mississippi go from being the richest to the poorest state? The story of Mississippi's decline is a classic example of the pitfalls of economic over-reliance on a single industry. As other states industrialized and diversified their economies, Mississippi lagged behind, sticking primarily to agriculture. The Civil War and its aftermath devastated Mississippi's economy. The abolition of slavery meant the loss of the labor system that had underpinned the state's wealth. The transition was tumultuous and left Mississippi economically crippled for years. Economic growth relies on good infrastructure, and Mississippi has consistently lagged in this area. Poor roads, limited public transport, and inadequate utilities make it difficult to attract and retain businesses. Social and economic policies that didn't support business development and failed to adequately address social issues have further stifled growth. Other states have created more business-friendly environments and better social safety nets, putting Mississippi at a disadvantage. Is there a way for Mississippi to turn things around and regain relevance in the modern economic landscape? Some experts believe it's possible, but it won't be easy. Prioritizing education can create a more skilled workforce, attracting businesses that need talented employees. This means higher incomes and better job opportunities for residents. Upgrading infrastructure would make the state more attractive to businesses and improve the quality of life for its residents. Better roads, utilities, and internet access are crucial. Moving beyond agriculture and attracting industries like technology, manufacturing, and services could provide a more stable economic base. Diversification is key to resilience. Implementing policies that support business development, innovation, and entrepreneurship can create a more dynamic economy. This includes tax incentives, grants, and support for startups. As we've seen globally, investments in technology can massively improve productivity and living standards without necessarily increasing costs. This is where Mississippi could take a page from more successful states and nations. Mississippi's early economic history was dominated by plantations that exploited enslaved labor, resulting in minimal labor costs and maximum utilization of the region's fertile land. This combination allowed the state to thrive on its cash crops, which were in high demand globally. In economic terms, the production of any good relies on three key components: land, labor, and capital. Mississippi's effective use of free labor and fertile land reduced the necessity for capital investments, such as roads, machinery, factories, and tools. Interestingly, in that era, enslaved people were treated almost like capital rather than labor. They were considered investments to boost the productivity of plantations, much like machinery would in other industries. Wealthy plantation owners, therefore, had little incentive to invest in modern capital assets, such as automated farm equipment, when they could simply purchase more enslaved people and provide them with basic tools. Moreover, Mississippi's geography, characterized by the extensive waterways of the Mississippi Delta, diminished the need for infrastructure development like roads. The ease of transporting goods via these waterways meant that almost all industries were situated along the rivers. Consequently, the areas between these rivers remained sparsely populated well into the 20th century. Even after the Civil War, Mississippi's economic policies remained heavily skewed towards traditional agriculture, despite the burgeoning potential of the mechanical industry that was revolutionizing other economies. The state had the resources to excel in emerging industries, a sizable labor force, access to ocean trade routes, and potential links to European markets. Policymakers and potential industrialists of the time were averse to the idea of black people working in factories, further stalling industrialization. Thus, the very factors that had contributed to Mississippi's economic strength in the early 19th century became its impediments by the century's end. The reliance on slave labor had created a wealthy, isolated class of landowners who saw little benefit in investing in industrial infrastructure or diversifying the economy. In 1865, 55% of Mississippi's population were former slaves. Although they were no longer enslaved, their new reality was fraught with difficulties. They were now responsible for their own livelihoods without any support or resources. The state was left with a population that was largely uneducated and deeply divided, with few opportunities for advancement. The new state constitution, which favoured agricultural interests, only compounded these issues, preventing the state from leveraging its potential in other sectors and leaving it economically stagnant. The recorded wealth of Mississippi saw a dramatic collapse post-Civil War, not just due to the loss of its primary industry, but also because of a significant shift in how assets were counted. Frequent flooding, tropical diseases, tornadoes, and poor soil quality hindered collective progress. Even today, these environmental issues make doing business in Mississippi more challenging than in many other parts of the USA. Imagine trying to build wealth with the constant threat of natural disasters. If one person can keep their home and investments intact, while another's assets are repeatedly destroyed, the former will naturally accumulate more wealth over time. This analogy scales up to the state level, highlighting the persistent economic predicament Mississippi faces. In summary, Mississippi's historical reliance on agriculture and slave labor created a narrow, fragile economic base. The loss of slave labor, combined with environmental challenges and resistance to industrialization, left the state struggling to adapt to the changing economic landscape. This legacy of limited capital investment, environmental adversity, and social division continues to influence Mississippi's economic trajectory. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section. The fascinating world of gold prices and their potential impact on the US dollar. Gold has always been a significant player in the global economy, but recent trends have sparked some intriguing questions. Is the surge in gold prices killing the US dollar? Let's break it down. First off, let's talk about India. Gold is a massive part of Indian culture and economy. Just like the American dream is to own a home, in India, the dream is to own gold. That's more gold than the central banks of the US, Germany, Italy, France, and Russia combined. For perspective, the US holds around 8,100 tons of gold, while Russia holds 2,332 tons. But Indian consumers alone hold a staggering 21,000 tons of gold. Now, in the past 6 months, if you've been watching the markets, you might have noticed something wild happening. The Indian stock market hit $5 trillion, overtaking Hong Kong. At the same time, gold prices in India reached an all-time high, soaring above 70,000 rupees. While the Sensex returned 8.33% and the Nifty 50 nearly doubled with a 99.92% return, gold prices shot up by an astonishing 16.16%. So why is this happening? One key reason is that central banks around the world are on a gold buying spree. Over the past 2 years, they've been stacking up tons of gold. For instance, India recently moved 100 tons of gold back from England. In recent years, India bought 69 tons, China bought a whopping 314 tons, Poland purchased 130 tons, Singapore grabbed 125 tons, and even the Czech Republic added 75 tons to their reserves. This global trend of gold hoarding has driven prices to unbelievable levels. So, why are central banks loading up on gold? What are the global factors at play, and should you consider investing in gold too? Back in the early 20th century, the world had already endured World War I, and by the late 1930s, World War II was in full swing. The infamous Treaty of Versailles, signed after World War I, set the stage for economic turmoil, which eventually contributed to the outbreak of World War II in 1939. The entire world united against Hitler and his regime, leading to the most devastating conflict in human history. At this time, the British Empire was a global superpower with vast colonies spread across the world. However, the economic toll of World War I and World War II had significantly weakened Britain's wealth. By the early 1940s, Britain's debt to GDP ratio had skyrocketed from 25% in 1914 to 220% in 1920, and further to 270% by 1942. Similar economic distress was seen in other major countries like France and the Soviet Union. Meanwhile, the United States played its cards wisely. Initially, the US stayed out of direct involvement in these wars, acting instead as a supplier of essential goods. America, untouched by the war's destruction, became a prosperous land of plenty. Cheap fuel and technological advancements powered a booming economy. American industry was perfectly positioned to dominate both domestic and global markets after the war. Here's where it gets interesting. While other empires were fully engaged in the war, diverting all their resources to the battlefield, the United States focused its capital and manpower on becoming a major supplier. They provided cotton, wheat, brass, rubber, automobiles, machinery, and thousands of other goods to the war-torn countries. This strategy led to one of the greatest economic booms in US history. US exports skyrocketed from $2.4 billion in 1913 to $6.2 billion in 1917. In the 1940s, the world had already experienced the devastation of World War I and was in the midst of World War II. The infamous Treaty of Versailles, which ended WW1, had set the stage for economic turmoil, eventually contributing to the outbreak of WW2 in 1939. By profiting from these costly wars, the US accumulated vast wealth. While other economies lay in ruins, the United States ended up holding 75% of the world's monetary gold. US gold reserves surged from around 2,000 tons in 1910 to nearly 20,000 tons by 1940. This unprecedented wealth set the stage for the United States to solidify its economic dominance. In 1944, the US convened a conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, gathering representatives from 44 allied nations. The goal was to establish a new international financial order and promote economic cooperation post-war. This meeting resulted in the Bretton Woods Agreement. Under the Bretton Woods Agreement, these 44 countries agreed to peg their currencies to the US dollar, which was in turn pegged to gold. This arrangement meant that 1 ounce of gold was worth $35, or 28.35 grams of gold equaled $35. The US promised to redeem dollars for gold, effectively backing the dollar with gold. This gave countries confidence in holding US dollars, knowing they could exchange them for gold. So, why did these countries agree to the Bretton Woods Agreement? The main benefit was stability. By pegging their currencies to the US dollar, countries gained a reliable exchange rate system, which facilitated international trade and investment. Additionally, backing the dollar with gold provided a sense of security, as gold was universally recognized as a valuable and stable asset. This system helped the US dollar become the dominant global currency, underpinning international financial stability for decades. The Bretton Woods Agreement laid the foundation for the modern global economy, with the US at its center. The Saudis were not wealthy in the early 1940s because their oil production was just beginning. During World War II, Italy bombed Saudi Arabia, targeting American oil facilities, which hampered the Saudis' ability to produce oil at full capacity. In desperate need of protection, Saudi Arabia sought help from the United States. In 1945, US President Franklin Roosevelt recognized the immense global importance of oil for the coming decades. He held a crucial meeting with the King of Saudi Arabia, resulting in a pivotal deal. The United States agreed to protect Saudi Arabia from future attacks and supply them with military equipment. In return, the Saudi king agreed to sell oil primarily in US dollars. This deal significantly boosted the rise of the Middle East and cemented the US dollar's role as the dominant global currency. By the 1960s, when oil-producing countries formed OPEC, all member nations started selling oil in dollars. However, recent geopolitical events and economic practices have led to a gradual decline in confidence in the US dollar. During the Russia-Ukraine war, the US froze $300 billion of Russian assets and $7 billion of Afghan assets after the Taliban took over. This move alarmed countries like China, which feared similar actions against their $797 billion in US Treasury bonds. As a result, China and other countries started buying large amounts of gold as a hedge against the potential devaluation of their dollar reserves. The US's frequent money printing has also contributed to the declining confidence in the dollar. For example, the US printed nearly $1 trillion during the 2008 recession, $4 trillion in 2020, and about $2 trillion in 2021. This excessive money printing leads to global inflation and reduces the value of the US dollar. Consequently, countries with significant dollar reserves, like China, see their reserves value diminish. Gold, being a finite and non-printable resource, retains its value, making it an attractive option for countries looking to preserve their wealth. The limited availability of gold, enough to fit in a 23-meter cube, ensures its value remains stable. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section. In a world where traditional job security vanishes as quickly as yesterday's news, financial independence is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. But how can we navigate this shifting landscape? What if you could learn from the best? Enter the wisdom of billionaires like Elon Musk, who defy the status quo and reveal the secrets to mastering the art of making money. When Elon Musk takes the stage, the world listens. His message? Stop relying solely on job hunting and start forging your own path. It's a bold statement, but one that resonates deeply in today's uncertain economic climate. Gone are the days when a 9-to-5 job provided security and stability. With the rise of automation and the gig economy, traditional employment is no longer a guaranteed ticket to financial freedom. Musk encourages individuals to think outside the box and explore alternative avenues for generating income. Whether it's starting a side hustle, investing in real estate, or launching a digital business, there are countless opportunities waiting to be seized. Stop looking for a job and start creating your own opportunities, Musk declares. It's a rallying cry for those who refuse to settle for mediocrity and dare to dream big. At some point in your life, you've likely pondered this very scenario. Today, nearly 30% of the global workforce is self-employed. This statistic underscores a significant trend towards independence and entrepreneurship. What's groundbreaking is the swiftness with which you can kickstart a business and connect with customers. Compared to 2 decades ago, the process of launching a business is not only speedier, but also more affordable, thanks to advancements in technology and the proliferation of digital platforms. Let's face it, no one gets rich toiling away for others. It's high time you grasp this reality once and for all. Consider the plight of an employee, earning by the hour, essentially renting out your mind for a fixed period each day. Yet, with time being finite, so are your earnings. Once your hours are spent, so too are the prospects of boosting your income. This limitation is a stark contrast to the potential for unlimited earnings that entrepreneurship offers, where your financial growth is directly tied to your efforts and ingenuity. The entrepreneurial journey, though challenging, offers rewards that far exceed those of traditional employment. It provides the freedom to innovate, the ability to make impactful decisions, and the opportunity to build something truly your own. By embracing the entrepreneurial spirit, you open doors to financial independence and personal fulfillment that conventional jobs rarely offer. In today's rapidly evolving economic landscape, the barriers to entry for starting a business have significantly diminished. Digital tools and online marketplaces have democratized entrepreneurship, making it accessible to virtually anyone with a vision and the drive to see it through. Whether it's a small online shop, a tech startup, or a freelance career, the possibilities are vast and varied. Ultimately, the choice is yours. You can continue on the well-trodden path of employment, or you can heed Musk's advice and create your own opportunities. What I propose is a shift in mindset. It's time to pivot towards charging for results. Those who truly amass wealth are those who embark on their own ventures, calling the shots and managing their time autonomously. Break free from the cycle known as the rat race and craft a flourishing enterprise. Absolutely, the timeline for profitability in business can span from months to even years, and in some cases, decades. The road to substantial profit generation is often long and winding, requiring steadfast dedication and resilience. One pivotal aspect of business that warrants understanding is that profitability isn't the sole measure of value. Even if a company isn't turning a profit in its initial stages, it still holds significant value. Why? Because value isn't just about current earnings. It's about the potential for future profitability. Consider the case of PayPal. Back in 2001, during its nascent stages, the company wasn't churning out profits. Yet, its value wasn't discounted because of this. Instead, its worth was calculated based on the anticipated profits it would generate over its lifetime. This underscores a fundamental principle. The true worth of a company lies not just in its present financial standing, but in its future potential. So, while the journey to profitability may be arduous and protracted, every step taken towards that goal contributes to building lasting value. It became evident that the lion's share of that value would stem from the anticipated profits over the ensuing decade. To ascend to the zenith of our industry, we must be primed for the enduring struggle from the outset. It's this meticulous groundwork that paves the path to profitability. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, don't materialize into success autonomously. There's nothing more detrimental than confining a potentially enriching idea to the secrecy of a box. The truth is, for an idea to endure and flourish, it must be brought to life through action. Take, for instance, the indelible legacy of Steve Jobs. Upon his return to Apple in 2001, following his ousting in 1997, Jobs embarked on a transformative mission. He orchestrated the launch of the iPod, a move that confounded many analysts and economists who dismissed it as a mere gadget cloaked in secrecy. Little did they know, Jobs harbored grander ambitions, the unveiling of the iPhone and iPad. It's a testament to the power of strategic planning and unwavering vision. Jobs didn't merely stumble upon success. He meticulously crafted a roadmap that propelled Apple to become the world's most valuable company. So, remember, behind every triumphant innovation lies a meticulous strategy and unyielding determination. The iconic lineup of portable devices stands as a testament to a crucial lesson. The most successful companies are largely fueled by the vision of their founders. Ideas aren't hoarded. They're unleashed into action with the right people to execute them. Break free from the confines of convention and seize the life you rightfully deserve. The most profound advice I've ever encountered is this: if opportunities don't knock on your door, fashion your own. So, as you watch this video, remember to affirm, I create my own opportunities. Drop your affirmation in the comments and I'll give you a little heart as acknowledgement. The facade of problems and crises that looms over our society often masks a profound truth. Amidst the abundance of possibilities in the world, economic woes persist. It's perplexing, isn't it? With so much to be done, traditional jobs seem scarce. But herein lies the crux. Unemployment isn't a testament to a dearth of work. It's a symptom of short-sightedness. Our challenge then is to refine our perspective, to sharpen our vision and unearth opportunities where others see only obstacles. Amidst the sea of problems lies a treasure trove of opportunities waiting to be discovered. Yet, many fail to recognize them, blinded by the veil of convention. Successful individuals possess a keen ability to transmute problems into opportunities. They understand that crises, far from being harbingers of doom, serve as catalysts for change and transformation. So, let us heed this clarion call, embracing challenges not as impediments, but as gateways to growth and prosperity. It's a remarkable opportunity that mustn't be squandered, a necessary evil, if you will. Those who fail to discern the silver lining within their crises are destined to endure them with heightened intensity. However, for those who recognize the opportunity nestled within the turmoil, a transformative journey awaits. Entering a realm where setbacks are mere stepping stones to success, these individuals cultivate a mindset where problems cease to exist. For every setback, they unearth a seed of advancement, transforming defeat into resounding victories. So, with every stumble, strive to rise stronger. If you've journeyed this far, affirm your commitment by commenting, I make money solving problems. Your comment will serve as a testament to your dedication and perseverance. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.